first section in the book is sourdoughs and yeasted breads. I decided to make the super fast, no need spelt and rye loaf as I didn't have a lot of time to dedicate to making a sourdough. In fact, later on I tried to cut corners with the sourdough bread and it was a flop. It's quite a seedy bread and you have the options to put raisins in if you want. Essentially, you just mix all the ingredients together, transfer it into a loaf tin, place it in the oven, and then after about an hour you have your bread. It's very pretty to look at on the inside where you can see the cross section of the seeds and raisins. The texture is quite similar to a banana bread, which is expected as they're made the same way. There's not much magic to this recipe, which is perfect for people who are just learning about breads or people who want fresh bread made quickly. The next section of the book is sweet baking, and I just really love the look of the chocolate, cinnamon and pecan babka. It does take 2 days to make, and Jordan suggests starting in the night and then continuing on in the following morning. I think the hardest part is rolling out the dough because it requires a lot of strength as you have to refrigerate the dough, and that of course makes it quite stiff. The second component of the babka is a thick chocolate sauce which is spread across the rolled out pastry and then sprinkled with pecans. Then after you spread the chocolate on the dough and rolled it up, the trickiest part is braiding the dough, because if you don't cut it evenly, like me for example, it can be quite tricky to assemble and you get quite a bit of fallout. But again, what I love about how Jordan writes his recipes is that he expects these things to happen and he lets you know that it's okay, and then he tells you what to do in order to get past those hurdles. This recipe is a combination of fun and decadence. Unfortunately, I forgot to cover up the top, so it burnt a bit, but it was still very edible and delicious. In the savoury baking section, I decided to make the red onion girls and pine nut tart. It requires a shortcut pastry made from spelt flour. One thing I've noticed about using spelt flour is that it doesn't act the same way as regular plain flour when it comes to assembly. When I made the crust for this tart, I had to change from using a rolling pin to flatten out the pastry to pressing it into the tart with my hands, which is actually Jordan's advice, so it's not that much of a big deal. With this recipe, because you've used spelt flour, there is a somewhat nutty flavour. The crust is relatively strong and the filling is quite airy, and what I love most is the sweetness of the onions you get along with the additional crunch from the pine nuts. The recipe I made from the Make a Meal With It section was the papa al pomodoro soup. I was quite happy to make this because I got to use up the sourdough bread that I had actually messed up. Like all the recipes that I've experienced with Jordan's book, it's quite simple to follow. The soup is a combination of tomatoes and onions that are cooked for a noticeable amount of time. It's an interesting soup, but not necessarily one that I would rave about or make again. I do think it's quite nice for the summer period, and it also works really well as a sauce to go with pasta. It's just not my cup of tea. The last thing I tried was the black rice and coconut milk porridge from the Ancient Grains chapter. It requires soaking the rice overnight before cooking, and then you just add some toppings. This is definitely one of my favourite recipes from healthy baking. The creaminess of the rice matches so well with the natural sweetness of the fruits. I've made this recipe several times. In this video I've paired it with berries, but my favourite topping so far has been with mangoes and strawberries. Overall, I found the book quite educational. There are 2 more sections in this book centered around preserving and fermentation, but I don't feel like I need to show you guys that, so I'm going to end this here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up. And if there's any other cookbook that you have your eye on that you're not sure about and you'd probably like me to review, let me know in the comments down below. And if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. And I will catch you guys next time. Bye!